So I'm trying out a new microphone because my guest today actually knows all about sound, and I don't.
Not all about. I know some things about sound.
Yeah, so I got a new Aston microphone. And I keep saying Aston Martin, but it's actually just Aston.
Yeah.
Spirit microphone. We'll see how that goes. Remember, a while back, I had Eric Massicat as a guest on the podcast. Eric is the dude that mixes the sound for TV at the Bell Centre for the Montreal Canadiens. Well, this time, I'm talking with the dudess who mixes the sound for the crowd for the Montreal Canadiens and other events at the Bell Centre. Lysane Collin-Millette is a sound engineer with whom I've had the pleasure of working back in the early days of being in this business. Let's go see what she has to say now after all these years, right after this. The Backstage Cowboys podcast is brought to you by AVL Media Group and Avolights, who make the best lighting consoles in the world. If you live in Canada, you now have access to the Avolights Academy online learning platform. The cost is $229, and that includes an editor Avo key delivered directly to your door. Head on over to BackstageCowboys.com and click on the Avolights Academy logo to get all the details. Now, if you don't live in Canada, well, that means you're in another country. So if you're in the United States, head on over to avolights.us. Anywhere else in the world, just go directly to avolights.com and you'll find all the resources available in your country. And now, let's get on with the show. Here is another episode of the Backstage Cowboys podcast. Where's my drummer? Lysane, welcome to the show. How you doing?
I'm excellent, thank you.
Okay, yes, indeed you are. Yeah, so we've worked together. How long ago?
Oh my God, at least, probably 20 years, starting 20 years ago.
Wow,
probably.
am I that old? Jeez.
Well, I'm also that old.
I was already old back then. Yeah, so, I'm happy to have you on the show. Because it's
happy to be here.
I've been meaning to get you on the show, and things happen, and you go from one thing to the next, and then, boom, time flies.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'd like to, how I am. I don't know if you've listened to many podcast episodes, but I'm totally unorganized. So
fine, me too.
Yeah. So there's no order whatsoever. I'm just gonna shoot a question at you.
Okay.
I'd like to know what you do presently. What is your work?
I mostly work at the Bell Centre.
In Montreal.
In Montreal.
Yeah, we have to specify because I got people from the Netherlands listening to this.
Hey, hello, Netherlands. So I work in Montreal at the Bell Centre, which is the main hockey arena, and I do sounds for the Montreal Canadiens. So that occupies the best part of my year. And other than that, I work for clients. I do patch. I work on festivals. Anywhere my clients ask me to be.
Yeah, indeed. So at the Bell Centre, I'm intrigued. I mean, what you were saying to me before we started to be online there. You were saying that you actually do the sound for the room itself, for the arena itself,
yes,
right?
Yes, I'm kind of like FOH sound engineer, kind of, if we can qualify, the sound system I have as FOH.
Okay, so you're getting sources from all over. You're getting like the music. You're getting the announcers.
Yeah, DJ announcer. I have two wireless mics, like national anthem, and there's an entertainer that's there, like the guy like doing games with the audience.
Referee?
I have two referee mics. I have ambience mics. I've got Diane playing the organ.
Yeah, hi Diane. Got to get her on the show at some point.
Yeah, and two inputs for VTRs, so video sources that I can switch because there's more than two sources, but I have two inputs.
Okay.
So I can switch between sources.
And I suppose you have you have mics hidden on the players' bench and where the coaches are. No,
I don't. TV usually have that, but I don't need that for the house.
Yeah, you're not going to shoot that inside the house. Right?
No, exactly. So it's not something I have.
Yeah. So what kind of a challenge is it to do sound in an arena like that, where you have sources from all over the place, and then we know the echo phenomenon and all that. So how do you deal with that?
Well, there's not much you can do about the echo of when the house is full, it helps a lot. Also, I'm not in the greatest place physically to hear what's going on. Mm-hmm. I'm all the way up in the press gallery, and I have the PA like right in my face, but kind of no highs because it's aiming down. So it's kind of weird. So I have to trust that it sounds good.
Wow.
And basically, we have a sheet, we have a pacing, basically, and Paul is our show caller, and he calls us whatever needs to be on air, whether it's a video, whether it's a national anthem, whatever it is, and I just follow the cues and push the faders.
Yeah, so sound calibration has already been done.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, we do we do a rehearsal every day, every game day for the opening sequence, which is a big video with there's lighting going on. There's ice projection. There's it's very loud. It's very
Yeah, it's a multimedia show now.
Exactly, and it's on time code, so we have to test it every day to make sure the time code reaches. I'm not on time code, but like the video and the lighting. So we test that every day, and we usually do a sound check for the national anthem, even though we have like 4 or 5 singers on repeat. Some of them don't sound check, some of them do.
Okay.
So we do that. So yeah, and sometimes there are like different things going on. Sometimes we have like maybe a musician for a certain event, for a certain day, or like a little band or something like that. But it's it's once in a while, and then we have to sound check for that. Mm-hmm. But a usual game with no outside musician or no outside entertainment, it's pretty easy, and it's always the same thing.
Yeah. Do you do anything else in that venue, or you strictly do Canadians games?
I do everything that's ice rental, not related to shows. Like no concerts. Well, okay. Although I could, because it's an IATSE gig and I am an IATSE member, because it's head of sound for the Bell Center is a IATSE gig, so I have to be IATSE. So I can do the shows, but I usually don't. But every ice rental, because the ice is rented most days of the year, whether for it's for shows or hockey or private events, and I usually do the private events. Sometimes it's like just people skating in a circle and needing music.
Okay.
Like companies could rent the whole Bell Center for like a party, like a company party, and have a little Quebec against Montreal Bureau hockey game.
Okay. Yeah.
And like hot dogs and stuff like that. So I usually do those events too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to know, I'm going to go way back. Well, way back. As way back as I can go. I mean, you're not that old.
I'm not 20 anymore.
You're not 20 anymore. You look 20.
Oh, thank you.
So, yeah, I'd like to go all the way back. I'm always intrigued about how you got to where you are. How did it all start? Because I often say, when I was in school, if I had known I could do this, I wouldn't have been a computer technician and then a financial advisor and then whatnot. Everything I did to get there. Although, I trust that whatever you did serves you. But had I known in high school that I could actually earn a living doing this, I might have went to it right away. But I'd like to know, how did you wind up in this mess? I mean, in this business.
My trajectory was not linear at all. I started being interested in sound. I guess I've always been interested in music. I was in a music program in high school. And at 14 years old, I saw my first big concert in Montreal, because I come from the region, Laurentians.
Where are you from? Laurentians. Okay.
Yeah, Val-David. Val-David in the
Quebec.
Laurentian. Yeah, Val-David, Quebec. And very little village, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And so 14 years old, my favorite band was in Montreal, was playing a gig.
What band?
Green Day.
Oh, okay.
Green Day. I was, 14. And it was at the old Montreal Forum. So like the House of the Canadians before the Bell Center.
Yeah, yeah.
And I went with my friend, and I saw like the PA and the lights, and I was like, oh my God, that's what I want to do. I want to control those speakers. It's like wasn't interested in lighting. I focused on the sound. I was like, I want to do that. But how do you get there when you're from a little small village? And like there was no back then. There was no. Well, it was cool for light, for sound and stuff, but not that many. And they were hard to find. I mean, there was not like advertised as today.
It wasn't in the course choices
exactly
that they kind of gave you.
Exactly. So I mean, I didn't know where to go. So anyways, I had a friend in another village. They had a youth center. Mm-hmm. And there's a guy there who, for some reason, I think it was to get out of parking tickets or something. Anyways, he was giving a little course on sound to the kids. And my friend knew I was interested, so I went to the youth center to follow that little course on audio. And I don't know how long it was, several weeks again, I guess, maybe like one day on the weekends for several weeks. Mm-hmm. And I loved it. But, again, like I'm in high school. What do I do? Where do I go? I don't know. And after that, after I finished high school, I went to college in languages. Mm-hmm. So I learned Spanish and German, but it's not what I wanted to do, but I just didn't know where to go. But in Saint-Jérôme, where I went to college, there was a venue where all the small tours in Quebec would pass.
Yeah,
and
that venue inside the high school, I believe, right?
Yeah, no, that's the other one. There was a venue inside the college called Salle Germaine-Guevremont, which was a very weird, uneven room. And it was on the first floor, so we had to take a 8-foot elevator to bring the stuff. And it was not fun, but yeah.
Well, the other one was not fun either.
No, it was worse. But I've heard about it because some of my colleagues also worked there, but I never did. But so I worked in Salle Germaine-Guevremont, so they would hire students. Again, you had to take like a 24-hour course on audio, and you would be hired to work on the shows and also work on several smaller shows inside the college in the Agora, they call it, like the cafeteria or something. There was a smaller stage there. So I did that. And then after that, where do I go? I mean, okay, I'm going to move to Montreal, but
You're kind of on your own, eh?
Yeah, exactly. So I had a friend in Montreal. One of the guy I was working with in Saint-Jérôme in college. He was working for Grand Bamboo in Montreal, which is a agency.
Tech agency.
Tech agency.
Yeah.
And I started working a bit for them, but I applied to go to the theater school also, but I wasn't picked.
Oh,
yeah.
You need to be picked.
Oh yeah. It's a
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just like a national theater school. That was there was that, or there's another one in college. There's a college also in Sainte-Thérèse.
Sainte-Thérèse, yeah.
I don't think I applied for them. I wanted to go to Montreal, but I didn't get picked. So I went to university in translation. After doing languages, I did translation. I love linguistics and I love this kind of thing. So it's kind of logical, but I couldn't see myself doing translation as much as I like it.
You know what? My daughter did the same thing.
So what I did 1 year of university, for the agency a bit, and I was working also at a cafe, make a living somehow.
Yeah.
And after that first year of university, I told my mom, you know what? No, that's not what I want to do. And I applied to go to a place called l'École du show business. And that's I did this course. I think it's 9 months. And after that, I started working pretty much full time in the business.
So when you started working, how did you get hired at first?
Well, one of my teachers in École du show business was Jacques Tessier.
Mm-hmm.
So for those who know, he owns...
Bonjour, Jacques.
Hello, Jacques. He owns Theatrics.
Yes.
So technologies. But he was my audio teacher. And back then, we're talking more than 20 years ago, he was also like technical director for the whole University of Montreal campus.
Oh.
And he was working on other gigs, and he would hire some of his students, and he hired me for several events, and he gave me the gig at the University of Montreal's football stadium. So my first sports gig before the Canadians was on football. So I was doing university football. I was kind of head of sound there.
It's funny you should talk about football because your favorite band was Green Day.
Yeah.
Mine is Green Bay.
Yeah. So and I did several shows I think 2 major shows at the Big O, the Olympic Stadium with Jacques. And then I got hired after that at Cloda Focus, which is a rental company. And I worked in the shop for most of a year, 4 days a week, doing gigs on the weekends. And at some point I don't want to do this anymore. I want to be out on gigs. Yeah. Let me out. And they did. And I've been working gigs ever since.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because, at a certain age, you want to get out there. You want to be in the action. You want to do the gigs and, load the trucks at 4 a.m. And
I'm glad I did the shop thing because you learn a lot.
Yeah,
and
indeed.
Yeah, but after a year, I'm like, I need to get out. This is not for me.
Yeah, it's all about who you are and
yeah,
it's what feeds you inside. Because some people, they don't want to go out. I know some guys who've been in shops for all their lives and
it's fine.
Oh, they don't want to go out on gigs.
Yeah,
they just want to do their day and get home at night. And being an older guy, and I stopped touring a few years ago. And I started having my weekends and my evenings back. and my wife is still there, so I'm kind of grateful for that.
That's good.
Yeah, so I got used to having a life all of a sudden, but I do miss it.
Yeah.
I'll have to be honest, whenever I get, once in a while I got a friend who overbooks himself and I get out there and help him out. And I'm always happy to get back in the action.
Yeah, I bet.
But I get tired at the end of the day.
Yeah, long days I can't do anymore. I mean, I don't like it, but once in a while maybe. But that's what's happening with the Canadians. I mean, it's because I start at 3:30 p.m. and I'm out of there by 10:30.
Wow.
So
no wrap up, nothing.
No
just
wrap up.
Shut the system down.
Exactly.
Get the
Shut
hell
the
out.
system and go home. It's a sweet gig, and it's fairly. I know, like in September, I know my schedule for the rest of the year. Well, for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Not the year, the season. So I just fill in the blanks with other gigs, but it's regular and it's not too long, and it's kind of it's a good pre-retirement gig, I say.
Yeah, I believe you. So how much of the year does that gig occupy you?
Well, we started again like mid-September. There's like a pre-season. We did, and then there's the season starts this year on October 14th. There's going to be some rehearsals before that for the opening sequence, and and we finished the regular season ends mid-April, and after that, well, if we make the series, we can, go till June.
Oh wow! Okay.
Maximum.
Well, September till June is a pretty good season.
So
it's a long season, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Well, the alky season is mid-October to mid-April, but you add a bit to that. So.
Yeah. Wow. Cool.
Yeah, and then there's like, and my summer is free for whatever festival I want to do, or just chill out because I can.
Because you're rich, right?
No, I'm not rich. But I know I'm going to be busy during the winter, so I can take my summer a little bit more easy.
Yeah, that's true.
I like that. Yeah,
that's cool. I'd like to go into more crunchy stuff. Well, actually, I know that you talked that you do something called audio patch.
Yeah.
Which is basically connecting everything on stage and sending signal to the FOH, right?
Yep.
So tell me about that. How does that happen? I mean, you install mics also, or you?
Yeah, basically, when you get the patch, or like a patch list from engineer mostly.
Yeah.
FOH engineer usually, or like whatever tours or whatever gig we're doing. Sometimes it's one-off. I do a lot of one-offs.
I suppose there isn't a patch list sometimes, eh?
Sometimes, but mostly there is. Or sometimes we make it as we go. Mm-hmm. But it's smaller gigs. On a big gig, you usually have a patch list that can be modified as as the thing evolves, because it's always in motion.
Yeah.
So I get the patch list. I get the microphones out. I put them on stands. When the band comes here, when the instruments get there, I install the microphones. I patch them in subsnakes.
Well, that's it. Patching in subsnakes. Can you explain that?
It's basically, you have your main patch, which it could be anywhere from 20 something to 96, 120, or whatever how many inputs you've got, and you have to subdivide that in smaller boxes, because you're not going to run 120 XLRs from your patch to the stage, basically. So you install so usually it's 12 boxes of 12, or sometimes 24.
That you kind of put
you
in different positions on stage.
Exactly. So you have one, let's say, on the drums. So the regular drum can be anywhere between 8 and 12 inputs. Sometimes there's more, sometimes less. So you have one box at the drum, and then one box at the guitar that maybe does like a talk back, or a guitar vocal, or whatever, or maybe a keyboard, and then another box at the bass that does whatever else is around there. And maybe one in the front, or maybe you've got a wireless rack that you're going to put right next to your main patch and just patch directly there. So that's basically it. So it's just routing signal.
Yeah. So you're pulling cables and connecting stuff.
Exactly.
And sending the signal to the front of the house.
Exactly. And making sure that the right microphone is in the right input at the board.
Yeah. That must be interesting when, there's a lot of acts going back and forth.
Yeah. Like festival patch is always interesting. You got to be on top of everything. You got to make sure you're very organized, and like sometimes you have some repatch to do. Sometimes you try to make it to make it fit into the same patch box, but it's always different, and you have to be on top of your things,
Yeah, okay. And I suppose you're always on standby during sound check in case something doesn't make it, or...
Yeah, pretty much always standing by, sometimes standing by during the shows also.
Well, that's what I was wondering. Like, during the shows, I often saw you standing by, stage side or something.
Yeah.
If you're standing by, that means a fuck-up can happen, right?
Anything can happen. Well, sometimes you think your XLR is working, and it's not. There's a leg that goes, that goes pop, and microphone stops working in the middle of the show, or like something falls, and somebody has to run on stage to like pick up, if the microphone falls or whatever, or sometimes the drum riser is is not properly fixed, and everything is shaking and falling all over the place. It doesn't happen very often, but I've seen it happen, or somebody just taps a mic and it falls, or whatever anything can happen, basically, like somebody steps on a power bar and like shuts it
Oh,
off.
yeah.
It happens. Anything. So you have to be.
Yeah, because you got stuff all over the stage, right?
Exactly. There's cables. There's power. There's like speakers. Monitors, and there's a bunch of stuff, and also like wireless. So you change your batteries before the show, but maybe it can open. The batteries can fall. If the singer like throws himself on the floor or jumps, it happens.
Yeah.
I've seen a bell pack fly and just explode open on the stage, and I had to take mine and give it to the singer.
Wow.
So in the middle of a show. So
Yeah, I've seen a battery. My battery story is a sound guy who, we just didn't have batteries, right? Mm-hmm. So a sound guy goes to the convenience store and buys a whole bunch of these, what he thought were Duracells because they were the same color. Mm-hmm. Didn't take the time to read it properly. And 10 minutes into the show, mics start going.
Oh.
And then, the guy says, what the hell's going on? This is my second mic. And then the third mic. And
Oh,
what?
my God.
And then I just pull the battery pack out and I look at it and I say, hey, dude, this is like knockoffs.
Yeah.
These are not Duracell.
Shit. Yeah, my favorite battery stories is it was a Greek show, I think, and before the show I changed all the batteries. Well, before we went to dinner, I changed all the batteries, and I always put the bad batteries or the used batteries in the box or the battery box, and I write in big red, I X used, and I put it on the side.
Yeah.
And when I came back, the show started. And at some point, the batteries started dying, and I look over at where the batteries were, and the monitor engineer, he had changed all the batteries back to the bad ones, to the used ones.
Thought he was doing a good thing there.
Yeah. It didn't see the big X used on the box. Apparently, it was not obvious enough. Anyways. So yeah, that was interesting. You had to run on stage and change batteries here and there.
Well, I can tell you from experience, a Greek show, even with new batteries, they're gonna run out.
Yeah,
because the show's not gonna end before the batteries end.
Yeah, exactly.
That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, nowadays the batteries they last longer. They're more efficient. Well, the packs are more efficient, so they take less batteries.
Yeah,
but back then
Greeks stay out later too. So.
Yeah. Yeah, they. Too many Greek shows. I don't want to think about it. Don't make me think about it. It's a trauma.
No, let's go there. Let's go there. I have so many memories of Greek shows because it's not a show; it's a party.
Oh, it's a party. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it always ends up like at 4 a.m. with everybody on stage.
Yeah. But it starts at 11 or sometimes midnight.
Yeah.
I mean, people walking at 9, I think.
Yeah, the headliner sometimes comes on at 1 a.m. or
exactly.
something.
And and sometimes they rotate. I mean, they have like two singers and they rotate. Mm-hmm. But the band stays there the most of the time. That's what's amazing. I mean, the band stays there for like 4 or 5 hours. Yeah. They don't stop, except the bouzouki players. The bouzouki players are allowed to have breaks.
Oh, okay.
Have you never noticed that?
No.
Sometimes there's a bouzouki player. There's usually two. And sometimes one is going to walk out, and sometimes the other. The bouzouki players have breaks, but not the other ones.
Well, I'm not surprised. I mean, I played a bouzouki once, and I suppose that after a few hours you get cramps. I mean,
I guess. I mean, or like they have a higher status, maybe.
Oh,
I don't know.
Could be there aren't that many of them.
I don't know. I never asked.
Yeah. So, how are your relationships with the? Not personal, not that I mind going there, but I'm talking about on stage, with the performers, the musicians, and all that. How does that work? I mean, is it smooth? Are they
Usually smooth. I try to be as out of their way as possible. I mean, I'm just. If they're happy, I'm happy. That's usually, my philosophy here. So I try to be as discreet as possible. I do a lot of the work before the actual musicians come in. So, and then when they get there, sometimes I will gonna ask questions. I'm gonna help them set up their stuff. But yeah, it's usually a good relationship. And
Yeah, well, basically you're there to give them signal. Once they have signal, after that they deal with the monitor person, right?
Yeah, but sometimes I'm also I also do other like things like give them power, like help them with with their stuff sometimes. So I do customer service.
Yeah,
I call it customer service. So especially in like on a festival settings, sometimes they're very independent. You have to read people a bit when you do this kind of job. I mean, you have to know like when people are kind of nervous or like they're looking around for something. You have to you have to go see them and like do you need help? Do you need something? And sometimes you see that they're very independent. They know exactly what they're doing and they don't need anything. So you just step out, just stay out of their way.
Yeah.
And wait for them to ask for something if they need to. So yeah, you have to read people a lot when you're on stage.
Oh, indeed. I'd like to go into a little more of the technical aspect of plugging stuff in, because I mean, whether you're plugging in a keyboard, you're plugging in like a bass or a guitar directly into the line, or you're miking an amplifier. Or all that. How do you deal with that? I mean, how do you know whether you need a direct box or whether you need a what box? Because I know nothing about sound, right? I know what a direct box is because I play the bass.
Yeah.
And I know that direct boxes some of them are very bad and some of them are very good. But that's all I know. I mean, I wouldn't know the first thing if I were to play with a band, and I don't, but I might at some point. If I were to play with a band, I wouldn't know what to bring on the stage. What exactly you need to get me out there.
Well, if your instrument has a jack output, a 1/4-inch jack, I mean, usually we use a direct box. You need a jack to jack into a direct box.
And what does the direct box do exactly, other than just take the signal and push it forward?
How do I put it? I don't know. I mean, I'm terrible like technical explanations.
You don't have to know this, right? I'm just asking.
I kind of know. It's just like to put it into the right words. But it's basically direct injection. So it's kind of it pre-amplifies the signal, and like if it's there's two types of direct box. There's like passive and active.
Yeah.
So active, you have to send like power to it.
Yeah.
So usually we use the active ones for stuff that has a lower sound, like from the like an acoustic guitar. It's like an acoustic guitar is not very, there's not a lot of output.
Yeah.
To start with.
Yeah.
A keyboard, that's power. It's plugged in, so there's plenty of power out of your keyboard, and you have a volume, so you can use passive. That's not a problem. So yeah, and so that's pretty much it. I mean, but all of this is going to be pretty much always on the patch list. I mean, engineers are going to tell you, okay, this needs to be a DI.
So at the end of the day, it's not your call necessarily.
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
I mean, unless we do a show like a bit amateur show, and there's nothing, and we just patched on the go. I mean, I'm gonna know. Also, sometimes it's just like it's a matter of what do I have. It's like
reality.
I'd like to put a active DI, but I only have passive, so it's gonna have to do, or the opposite. So what do I have in my toolbox today? Because I don't usually make the lists. So I work with what I'm being sent.
Yeah, that's true.
So what are we gonna mic the drums with today? I don't know. Let's find out. So
how often does it happen? You pull something out of your toolbox and you try to plug it in and it don't work.
Fairly regularly.
Sadly,
yeah.
So what do you do about that? I mean, first of all, you pull out a direct box. Let's say you hook that up. Boom, boom. Okay, nothing happening. Where do you start troubleshooting? How do you know the problem is coming from there and not from one of the cables, or not from the instrument output, or from patch box or the snake?
Yeah, well, you got to start at one end or the other. So I would start maybe at the DI box, maybe plug a mic into it. If if that works, maybe it's your instrument that's wrong, or maybe the instrument cable. That's not working.
Yeah, you have tricks to.
Yeah. So if that doesn't work, you just unplug the DI, put a microphone in the cable. Oh, if that works, well, the DI is wrong. Well, so yeah, and so on and so on. You know, it could be the patch box, it could be the main line. It could be that the sound man is not sending phantom power. Yeah. You know,
that too.
It happens, not very often though, but it happens. Yeah. I've seen it happen.
Or a sound man just turned on the wrong channel.
Exactly.
Yep.
It happens.
I do it all the time with lighting. Why'd that cue go wrong? Oh, that wasn't the cue I was supposed to fire.
Yeah. Oh, wrong light. Sorry.
Yeah, but people don't notice it that much when I make a mistake.
Yeah.
If you don't hear the singer, then it's a little more obvious.
Yeah, when it's a singer, it's obvious. When it's maybe, I don't know, like the second keyboard, maybe it's not that obvious.
Or how often you see a TV show and there's somebody playing guitar and you can't hear that damn guitar.
Oh, yeah. Well.
Oh, that's my phone.
Oh.
Yeah, should have put that on mute, eh?
Yep.
Oh, well.
It's fine.
So, load-ins, load-outs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all that stuff. Because, you know, there's sort of a thing going on with techs that certain techs get there once the truck's unloaded. And there's another thing that's, you know, some techs get to the gig before the truck arrives and they leave once the door's closed. And I mean, what a typical day, I'm not talking about a Bell Center gig, but I mean a typical, you know, a corporate gig or something like that. What kind of a day do you have? I'm
usually the kind to be there with the trucks. I mean, unloading the trucks, unless I'm hired to do, you know, at a later hour. I mean, sometimes the client decides. Sometimes I'm not needed at 8 a.m. in the morning, but I'm usually going to be there like first thing in the morning, unloading the trucks with the rest of the crew, and then set up the PA if we need. Set up the PA if we need to set up a PA if it's not a room that already has one. Set up a stage. It's usually sound checks after that, you know, and then do a show, unload a show, and stay until the truck's loaded and doors are closed. Yeah, that's usually what I usually do. You know. Yeah.
Dinner break.
Yeah.
Sometimes hopefully. You get food, sometimes not. Sometimes you get food and you don't have time to eat it.
Yeah, I've eaten my share of meals sitting on roll cases. Mm-hmm. You know, we all do.
Get used to it.
But it's fine, you know.
So, what happens down the line? What's next?
I don't know. What's next?
Did you ever know what was going to happen next since you started this?
Not really.
Yeah.
Not really. I mean, you just go with... I'm a kind of go with the flow person.
I think you have to be to do this job, right?
Yeah. But some people are so driven. They want to get somewhere and they want to, you know, like, I have no plans at all. I just wanted to work, you know? I wanted to get to a point when I'm just not just a case pusher, you know. I do something that's kind of meaningful. But yeah, after beyond that, I mean, I had no plans, no career plans at all. I mean, I didn't know I was going to end up at the Bell Center or doing I do some TV shows. Sometimes I work on doing major festivals and stuff. You know, I just wanted the next gig, and hopefully that was a better gig than the previous one.
Yeah, there's a lot of unknown factor, and I think that we're cool with that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So tell me, what's the coolest gig
my coolest
you've done?
Gig? Oh God!
And you can take the time to think about this. Because sometimes there's stuff that happens that really, you know, is memorable, and it's just like something, you know, that makes you, you know, live something that you never thought would happen.
Yeah. A few years back, I was hired by Just for Laughs to work on it's a group of comedians called Rock et Belles Oreilles, so local comedians.
Yeah.
So it's a...
Oh, they had a huge TV show back in the 80s.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They were very, very popular in the 80s.
Yeah.
It's a sketch-based comedy, basically. Yeah. So they do different characters and stuff. And they had albums also. They do music and stuff. So, and they did like a reunion show. So I was hired to do patch and wireless on that, and that was a lot of fun. And so they decided that the next summer, they would do it again, but at the Bell Center and at the Vidéotron in Quebec City. So they would do more shows. They would do basically the same show, a little bit different, but bigger with like screens and big setup and stuff. So, and I was there again, and because it's like a week of rehearsals at least, and then like at least 3 shows, and it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Yeah.
So the guys are cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
I had so much fun.
Well, I suppose if when you're doing a show to make people laugh like that, I mean, at some point.
I mean, they have it's 4 guys that have 4 different personalities.
Yeah.
But I met like the people I work with, the team that was there working on these shows. They were amazing. I mean, the guy who did like the costumes and the decor and like the freaky stuff, like the weird stuff. Like he was so great. He was so cool. We have we had a big sound team. I mean, like 2 monitor guys. Me. There was another wireless person. There's an FOH guy. There was a tracks person. I mean, there's a band. So I mean, I don't know. It's hard to explain. I mean, it was just so much fun, and such a challenge also. Yeah. Because I had to run around. I mean, it's not just patch, and when I did wireless, but I would like run around with microphones to give the guys, because they would like change costumes. There was a lot of costume changes, and I had to like take a mic and run to give it to him, because I had to put the mics and stuff, because in a lot of their in their sketches, sometimes I would have to put a microphone into an accessory. Oh. So I would have to grab the mic, put in the accessory, wait for the guy to change, give him back the mic, make sure that his belt pack for his in-ears was like properly reattached to the new costumes. So yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah, because those guys, it's not just comedy. They're to begin with, they were supposed to be a band.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, well, they started radio. They did a radio show.
Well, they did a radio show before, but I remember them explaining that originally they wanted to start a band called the Rock et Belles Oreilles.
Okay.
Yeah, and at some point they got into comedy, and that just went on. But they have a lot of hit songs, funny songs. Yeah. So when they're doing the show, they're also performing musically.
Yeah, but it's a guy. What's his name? C'est quoi son nom? But there's a guy who writes the songs with them. Well, at least the music. Gaetan, something. He was playing the guitar on the shows. Yeah, super nice guys. So
these guys, they've been around for a long time. But that's another thing. Sometimes they've been around for a long time. They know what they're doing, but at the same time, they're older. Yeah. So performing like that is.
It was a challenge for them too. So but they're very professional. I mean, that's why we had like a full week of rehearsals. They would repeat the numbers and repeat the Funny because at some point in the show they would take off their pants. The pants they had velcroed pants, and they would take them off. And during the rehearsals, I didn't know. Nobody told me. And during rehearsal, I see that going on, and I'm like, and I just walked to the other side of the room to the costume ladies and was like, how are we gonna attach the belt packs? I think we need to plan for like an elastic band for like attached to a part of their bodies, because it's not gonna work. I mean, we have to do something about it. And we're like, oh, nobody had thought about that.
Yeah.
Which is, we're just taking off our pants. Yeah, but you have something.
Flying mics.
Exactly. So we came up with a solution. The seamstress made a flesh-colored elastic bands for their ties, and during intermission we would change the belt pack.
And if you have that up against the skin, then you got the sweat going in there.
Yeah.
That's another challenge too, right? I've seen a couple of times the microphone just failing because of sweat.
Oh yeah, sweat, or it's the belt packs. If you have a microphone that's with a belt pack, like a headset mics, I've seen belt packs go in condoms to prevent that.
Oh yeah, I've seen that before too.
Yeah.
Just to protect him from the humidity.
Not lubrified condoms, of
Not
course.
lubrified. It's easier to get them out, though.
Yep. But then you might have another problem.
So that was the great gig.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the worst gig.
Oh, gosh.
I'm pretty sure there are quite a few of those.
Yeah. Oh, God. I had one recently. That was pretty much a nightmare. When the stuff doesn't get there on time. And it's not because of traffic, and it's just bad organized, planning, bad planning, stuff coming from two different shops, and it's just not on time. And we have like 2 days of setup before the event. It's an outdoor event, and we can't work. We don't have the stuff. We rigged a PA on the first day. We didn't have a console to test it with. Mm-hmm. We had to go with the, an iPhone straight into the amp, basically.
Wow.
To test the PA. How crazy is that?
Wow.
Yeah. And so exactly. And the second day with the band, the major band was coming at the end of the day to set up and line check. And we received the stuff, I think, as they were walking in.
Oh, wow.
Literally,
so nothing is set up. You just got it.
Nothing is set up. We had a big rack of in-ears that is not even patched in the backs. It's... Was
that at the Bell Center?
No, it's...
Because I heard of a gig that got delayed because of that, because something didn't happen, or...
Oh, yeah, there was a gig that was delayed because the truck went somewhere else.
Oh, okay.
But that was
a few years too.
That was a few years ago. Yeah. The guy didn't know where the Bell Center was, which is the biggest venue in Montreal. Yeah, he didn't know where it was.
I remember somebody telling me that they're on a gig, they're waiting for their stuff, and the truck gets in, they open up the door, and it's fruits and vegetables.
Oh, yeah.
They sent the wrong truck.
Great. Yeah, once I had a truck for an out, and it didn't have anywhere to hook straps.
Oh, no anchor points.
Yeah, no anchor points.
Woo!
It was flat.
Beautiful.
It was like a hay bale truck.
No flip? Yes, flip.
Oh, no. It was like, you go back and find us another truck, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was full, and it was like...
Or they send you a truck that hadn't been emptied.
Yeah, sometimes.
Happened to me once, too.
Oh,
the guy picks up a truck, and he doesn't take the truck he's supposed to because he likes the other one better. Mm-hmm. But didn't think that there was a whole bunch of crap in the truck.
Great.
Open up the door, and the truck's already full.
Yay! Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, the truck also brake. It's axle or something. It was in the winter, and it was going up a hill, and we could see it in the distance turning, and it stopped.
Oh.
Because what's this called? Anyway, something fell off.
Oh.
Of the truck.
Okay.
So it was stuck there in the middle of the road, blocking traffic from all directions. It was in old Montreal, so it wasn't like
Rings
the
a bell.
highway.
It was in the wintertime, right?
It was in the wintertime.
I think I was on that gig.
Were you?
Well, either I was on the gig or I was at the shop.
Probably
trying to deal with it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. It was at the what's this called? Another
St. James.
St. James Theater. Yeah. So we were all waiting there for the truck to load our stuff, and the truck is definitely not coming.
Yeah.
Interesting. We see it. It's there, but no, it's not coming. So I think we came back the next day or something.
Yeah, because here in Montreal we deal with winter.
Yep.
Yeah, sometimes that we did gigs up north where the truck just won't go up the hill.
Exactly. And, yeah. we did gigs outside in winter too, and I tried to avoid that at all costs.
Oh yeah,
because I hate it.
Yeah,
but sometimes you don't have a choice.
Yeah, try to coil frozen cable.
Yeah. Well, we ran a snake, an analog snake, into a pipe once for a show, and for some reason it's like it melted, like snow melted, but it froze again. So in the pipe, so I mean, it was impossible to get the snake out. I don't know what they did. I mean, I don't know if they had to wait for the whole thing to thaw. Yeah.
Well, the only way to deal with that is to send power through the cable, make it heat up, and melt the ice.
Probably. I don't remember. I think I'm pretty sure that when I left after the snake was still there.
So here's like what can I call this? An ordinary question, like anybody would ask this, right? Mm-hmm. In all the people you've worked with, I mean, obviously you work with fellow technicians, you work with production houses and all that, but you do get to meet, famous people, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me about that. Who have you worked with, and how did that go?
Well, I've worked on several big shows where like the headliner was a big star. I don't usually meet them a lot. I don't usually interact a lot with them, but
well, we don't run after them.
No,
exactly. Right?
Exactly. We're not groupies. Yeah. So, and the last thing you want to do is be a groupie and ask for autographs and start being like nagging.
Yeah.
So they're there to do their job. You do your job, and that's it. But I've had that's funny. Angelina Jolie's father, John Voight, told me I was wonderful once because I put a mic on him.
Oh, wow.
I'll remember that all my life for some reason. Like, I just put a headset mic on him for a conference type thing. It was like a conversation for I think a charity event. And and I asked him if it was okay, if it was comfortable. And he said, "Oh, yes, and you're wonderful." I'm like, okay. So that was my encounter with John Voight. But yeah, I worked with on Aerosmith concert, Maroon 5, Blind Boys of Alabama. I worked with the Beach Boys a couple times for festivals. I worked. There's this gig I do every year. It's a Battle of the Bands type thing. That's a charity event again, and they always invite like an old school like music star from the 70s usually, and over the years they've had I'm gonna remember names, band members like from the Eagles, like they had Don Felder.
Oh yeah.
Like Don Felder from the Eagles. They had Tito Jackson's, Michael's brother, who wanted an orange cab, absolutely wanted an orange cab for his guitar, and we had to find it. And he tried it, and he was like, "No, I'll take the Fender." We went all over the freaking city to find a freaking orange cab for him. We had a brand new one out of the box, and he was like, "Nah, I'll try the Fender Twin." Like,
wow!
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Seriously? Yeah, and I worked with Kool and the Gang recently. Pretty nice, pretty great people. Yeah.
It's funny because sometimes we work with those old school bands, legends. Yeah. And they're not always, the band is often not complete because they lost some of the band members and all that.
Yeah.
I remember doing the Pointer Sisters. Where,
we did the Pointer Sisters.
Oh, we were on that together.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That was a cool show.
It was one or two Pointer Sister with a Pointer daughter, I think. Or
I think there was two of the
Pointer
original.
Niece or something.
Yeah. Yeah, when we were offline there, you were talking about Martha Wash, too.
Yeah, Martha Wash, I did a few times. The last time I think it was outside for a small event in a city, and in a city park. And they had a helicopter land during her set. It was like, damn, like wow. It's it's like it was in the field, but it was so freaking loud. I mean, it was like, why? What timing? What bad timing is that? Anyways, it was funny.
Well, that's just hearing this, like Martha Wash doing a small gig at this point.
Yeah,
I mean, why?
Yeah, sometimes it's
Why?
It's strange. Like,
You wonder. I mean, how come these people are doing these small gigs? I mean, they should be doing like, arenas.
Exactly, but no, it doesn't.
Ah,
I mean,
man.
at least,
I don't get it.
If they're, if they get paid to be somewhere, why not?
Yeah. Talking about interference, I was in the old port once, and there was this RCMP parade.
Oh.
Mounted Canadian Police. They were doing their parade. It was on Canada Day. And at the end of the pier, there was Plume La Traverse doing his sound check.
Oh.
That was really funny.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I worked with Plume once. Boy, he's tall.
Is he? Oh, I never met him, really.
Really? Oh, no. I worked with them at a place called La Ripaille.
Mm-hmm.
It was a bar. It still exists, but it changed because it burned down.
Yeah.
But at the old Ripaille, like the stage was so very small and the ceiling very low, and there was a beam, like a big wooden beam with lights on it. And I mean, the guy the guy's head wasn't the beams. Like the guy is like 6'3" or something.
Wow.
Yeah. It's funny that there was a part of the stage, kind of there's a square missing, and they would put a 4x4 riser on 4 cases of beer to make the stage a bit bigger. At La Ripaille. Yeah. That's funny. That's what
I saw a stage once made out of 2x4s, but I mean bales of 2x4s.
Oh.
Because it was a festival, the Festival du Bûcher.
Oh, interesting.
So lumberjack festival. So they had these bales of 2x4s, and they just stuck them against each other and screwed a plywood down on it, and there you go. Your stage ain't going anywhere, even if there's a tornado happening.
Interesting. Well, that's one way to do it.
Yeah.
At least it's solid.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. You talked about the Beach Boys too. That was that was something. I did them in Kanawaki once.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And we actually I wound it up on the follow spot that night because I was technical director on there. Mm-hmm. I was with Dominique Morissette.
Okay.
And he was head electric. Mm-hmm. And the 2 local guys that were supposed to do the follow spot didn't show up.
Oh, right.
Yeah, as usual.
Yeah.
So we just grabbed one each. And we couldn't hear fuck all on the clear comm. I mean, the guy was calling the shots and was like, "Nah, we can't hear you, dude." And he was going crazy. And at some point, I just climbed down, went up to the guy, and said, "With all due respect, sir, I think I know the songs better than you do. Don't worry about the follow spots. We know where to go."
Great. Yeah.
All right. Any last words you want to say before we turn this thing off?
God, I don't know.
Well, what's your advice? Yeah, okay, I'll go there. What's your advice, for youngsters who are starting out in this business? 'Cause this is a little different because now they can learn this stuff. A lot of schools offer technical,
mm-hmm. Yeah, you can learn a lot of technical stuff in school. What you don't learn is I think the dynamic of the show. I say just listen, be aware of everything that's happening, not just your department. You have to always be aware of everything. Like even if you do sound, be aware of lighting, be aware of video, be aware of everything around you, because that's how you learn like the whole thing. The whole dynamic of a show.
Yeah, the show is always bigger than you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you have to work with other departments. So you can't just focus on your belly button here. You have to,
teamwork.
Exactly. So you have to see, and never be afraid to ask questions. Before you do something that you're not sure of. Always ask first if you're not sure.
Wise advice. Lysane, thank you so much for being on the show.
You're very welcome.
Really appreciate it, and I wish you happiness. Thanks. For your upcoming gigs, and keep that hockey game rolling because us Canadians, we really enjoy that stuff.
Oh yeah. I've got the coolest gig in Montreal, I think.
Indeed, yeah. Now that I know it's you, I mean, it's different because I got you doing the sound for the room, and I got my other buddy, Eric Mascotte, who's doing. Actually, I had him on an earlier podcast episode.
Yeah, I should.
Yeah, and he's doing the sound for television.
Yeah.
So now I know people, in very important places.
All right.
Okay, take care.
You too.
Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. The Backstage Cowboys podcast is brought to you by AVL Media Group and Avolights, who make the best lighting consoles in the world. If you live in Canada, you now have access to the Avolights Academy online learning platform. The cost is $229, and that includes an editor Avo key delivered directly to your door. Head on over to BackstageCowboys.com and click on the Avo Lights Academy logo to get all the details.